You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. I have, for many weeks now, given you my season prediction for LSU. I think they're 8-4. I've gone through it. I'm settled on it. I think they start 4-0. I think you split the month of October 2-2. Of course, that's at Auburn, home against Tennessee, at Florida, home against Ole Miss. I think you split those. You get one of each. You get one of the home games, one of the road games. You split it. So you come through October, you're 6-2. You're going to lose to Bama. You're going to beat UAB. Can you split the at Arkansas, at A&M games? You do that, you're 8-4. I think that would be a fantastic start for Brian Kelly, especially given what he inherited. A roster that had 39 available scholarship players for the bowl game, had to add 15 transfers just to get his numbers back to respectability so he could field a team of guys who've actually played college football, overhauled the entire staff, had to change the culture, everything we've talked about. And oh, by the way, you're in the SEC West and Tennessee rotates on your schedule, and you got Bama, and you got to go to Florida and Auburn and Arkansas and A&M. That's a bear. This team gets to 8-4 with everything they've gone through. That's a win for Brian Kelly. But what if they do better? What if they do better? Some metrics like LSU told you that FPI has LSU favored in 9 games. Now, some don't. Bill Connolly's SP Plus has LSU winning 6 games. Vegas has LSU anywhere 6.5, 7. I guess it depends where you lay your money. So I do think they'll go over. But what if, just what if LSU does manage to do better? So ESPN has what they call their All-State Playoff Predictor. And they use all of their metrics to spit out who actually has a percentage, what teams actually have any percent chance of making the college football playoff. And this year, 2022, there are 20. Of the 131 FBS teams, there are only 20 with a chance of earning a berth in the college football playoff. And some of them are the obvious ones. Ohio State has the best odds at 83%. Ohio State has an 83% chance of making the playoff. Bama's at 79, Georgia's at 75, Clemson's at 58, and then you have a massive drop to Notre Dame at 17%. And there's Michigan, Texas, Oklahoma, Miami, Utah, Oklahoma State. And your Fighting Tigers of LSU. There are only 11 teams in the country that have a better chance of making the college football playoff than LSU. Only 11. Now, they were 6-7 a year ago. And according to the playoff predictor, LSU has only a 3.2% chance of making the playoff and a 0.2% chance of winning the national title, which they won't do. But the door is open. Some of these things are obvious when they lay it out. Toughest test, of course, Alabama. No doubt. I don't think LSU's winning the Alabama game. I also don't think that matters, and I'll tell you why in just a second. They lay out what the committee will like. They talk about November, that November schedule where they could upset Alabama, maybe road wins at Arkansas and A&M. That'd be a great way to punctuate the season. They point out what the committee won't like, and they say no improvement on defense. LSU allowed 30 points and 427 yards per game over the past 2 seasons. Defense has been absolutely atrocious, obviously. But I'm going to disagree because one of the things that I am more bullish on right now has been the way the defense has performed. So I think the defense is going to improve. what to me in all of this is so interesting is of course I'm not going to pick LSU to go undefeated. But in a vacuum, on a given Saturday, could LSU beat Florida State? Could LSU beat Mississippi State in Baton Rouge? On a given Saturday, can LSU go to Auburn and win that game? What about home against Tennessee? Would you be fall over stunned if LSU went to Gainesville and beat Florida in year one under Billy Napier? Or beat Ole Miss in Baton Rouge? What about Bama at home? I don't think you're winning that game, but that won't matter. I'll tell you why in just a second. Could LSU go to Arkansas and win a game? Shoot, the last time LSU went there was the freaking COVID season. They were brutal. TJ Finley led a game-winning drive in the rain to beat Arkansas up there. Of course LSU can beat UAB, and can they beat A&M? Of course they can. They've owned A&M since A&M's been in the conference. And A&M's got their own issues this year. So in a vacuum, could any of those things happen? Of course. Again, not likely to happen. But when you look at this All-State playoff predictor, LSU, I mentioned that there's only 11 teams with a better percent chance of making the college football playoff than LSU. And I ran through the list of them. Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, Notre Dame, Michigan, Texas, Oklahoma, Miami, and then LSU. Which means LSU has a better percent chance, according to this metric, than Auburn, than Texas A&M, than Ole Miss, than Mississippi State, Tennessee, Arkansas, Florida State, Mississippi State. Yo, the only teams on LSU's schedule that have a better chance of making the playoff than LSU is Alabama. The only team on LSU's schedule that has a better chance of making the playoff is Alabama. And I'll remind you, while there's never been a two-loss team make the playoff, we've seen one-loss teams make the playoffs every year. And there have been 4 times where teams made the playoffs who were proverbial long shots. 2016 Washington, 2018 Notre Dame, 2020 Notre Dame, and then last year 2021 Cincinnati, which is the first ever group of 5. In the college football playoff era, there have been in the 8 years, of course, 32 participants. 6 of them have been non-conference champions. So LSU can go 11-1, lose to Bama, and still get not play in the SEC championship game, and theoretically still make the college football playoff. I want to tell you, I don't think it's going to happen, of course. I've told you, I think they're going to go 8-4. But there's a lot of people who are believing in A&M that have put them in the top 10. This metric has LSU better than A&M, and a lot of metrics do. For whatever it's worth, I asked Jimmy about LSU and point spreads and all that stuff for this year. Of course, LSU is going to be an underdog to Alabama. He's got Auburn and Tennessee as coin flip games, and LSU likely as an underdog to A&M, Arkansas, Ole Miss, and Florida. The only game that LSU will be favored in is the home game against Mississippi State. There will certainly be a favorite in is the home game against Mississippi State. We'll see what happens at Auburn, home against Tennessee. But all those other games, even if LSU's an underdog, you're talking about a game that on a neutral field would probably be a toss-up, something within a field goal. So I think LSU is going to play a lot of close games this year. A lot of close games. A lot of one-score field goal games. I think it's going to feel like all of them are like that. LSU did that in 2007 for the bulk of the season, and they won a lot of really dramatic games. Lost a couple of them in triple overtime. I don't know how this season's going to go. I've told you how I think it's going to go. Maybe, just maybe. If you want to believe, at least one metric thinks it's a possibility. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.